Do you hear that faint clinking sound in the dark? That is not the wind. That is not a goat's bell. It is the sound of invisible chains. Soft, shiny, and dangerous. Chains that many wear proudly around their waists, mistaking them for ornaments. Tonight, I will tell you of a village that glittered like gold in the sun, but groaned like iron in the night. A village where people danced in borrowed shoes, feasted with borrowed plates, and slept in houses built with tomorrow's money. And before the story ends, you may discover that the village is not so far away. Perhaps it is closer than you think. This is the story of Ijapa Hills, where red earth clings to your feet and palm trees whisper secrets to the sky. It is the story of a man who loved shine more than substance, glitter more than grain. His name was Tade the Magnificent, though in truth, his magnificence was borrowed. In Ijapa Hills, wealth was once measured by yam barns filled to the roof, goats that multiplied in the dry season, healthy children, and peaceful sleep at night. But times changed. Traders from distant lands arrived with polished goods, shining fabrics, sparkling ornaments, and promises wrapped in sweet words. Slowly, the measure of wealth shifted. People no longer asked, "How full is your barn?" They asked, "How bright is your shine?" And none shone brighter than Tade. When Tade walked through the marketplace, heads turned as if summoned by a drumbeat. His agbada shimmered with golden thread. His sandals were said to be crafted from leather smoother than river stones. He carried a polished staff, though he held no title. Even elders nodded at him with reluctant admiration. But what the village did not know was this: Tade's shine was not his own. For in those days, a mysterious trader named Malam Kudi arrived in Ijapa Hills. He came carrying a golden calabash. And inside that calabash was something powerful, something sweet, something dangerous. Malam Kudi would stand in the marketplace and proclaim, "Take today, pay tomorrow. Why wait for harvest when you can feast tonight? Why save for years when you can shine this instant?" The golden calabash never seemed too empty. If you wanted fine clothes, you dipped your hand inside. If you wanted a grander house, you dipped again. If you desired imported wine, glittering jewelry, or a carriage with shining wheels, the calabash provided without hesitation. But there was one rule, one hidden condition. Every time you dipped your hand into the calabash, an invisible string tied itself around your waist. The more you dipped, the more strings wrapped around you. They were light at first, barely noticeable, comfortable even. But one day, inevitably, Malam Kudi would pull. Tade became the calabash's most loyal visitor. He dipped once for a silk agbada. "I must look successful to become successful," he reasoned. He dipped twice for a grand feast to impress the chiefs. "Connections are built on appearances," he declared. He dipped thrice for a towering mansion with carved balconies and shining tiles. "How can I live small when my destiny is big?" Each time his purse grew light, he did not reduce his spending. He dipped again. After all, Malam Kudi always smiled and said, "You are approved. You qualify. Take more." And so Tade shone. Soon, others followed. Mama BC borrowed to host the loudest wedding in 3 villages. Drummers beat until sunrise. The bride's gown sparkled like morning dew on the sunlight. Guests praised her extravagance. Kunle, the tailor, borrowed to fill his shop with machines he barely knew how to use. He hung a bold sign outside, "International Fashion Empire." Young Sada dipped into the calabash to buy glowing gadgets from distant lands so she could display her soft life to the world. Ijapa Hills began to glitter. Roofs shone brighter. Parties grew louder. Clothes became finer. Outsiders envied them. But beneath the shine, something dark was growing. Then came a dry season, unlike any other. The rains delayed. Harvest was weak. Traders lowered their prices. Money slowed down like a tired ox. That was when Malam Kudi returned, not with his charming smile, but with a thick ledger under his arm. He knocked first on Tade's gate. "Tade the Magnificent," he called smoothly. "It is time." "Time for what?" Tade asked, forcing a laugh. "For settlement." Malam Kudi opened his ledger. Suddenly, the invisible strings around Todd's waist became visible. Thick ropes, glowing faintly in the sunlight. They stretched from Tade back into the golden calabash. "You borrowed for garments, for feasts, for your mansion, for decorations, for imported luxuries." The list was long, very long. Tade swallowed. "Business has been slow." Malam Kudi's smile faded. "Interest does not sleep." With one sharp tug, the ropes tightened. Tade bent forward slightly. For the first time, his back could not stand straight. "My friend," Malam Kudi whispered, "the more you owe, the less you stand upright." Across Ijapa Hills, the same scene unfolded. Mama Bisi, Kunle, Sade, ropes appeared everywhere. The villagers discovered a painful truth. The golden calabash did not give gifts. It gave obligations. It gave debt. And debt, like fire, can cook your food or burn your house. Some tried to pay only small portions, thinking the ropes would shrink quickly. But they learned about something called interest, the quiet multiplier. Even when they paid a little, the debt grew quietly in the background. Like termites in wood, it weakened them from within. Soon, many were working not to build wealth, but to service ropes. Their sweat fed the calabash. Their income arrived already claimed. Stress entered homes. Quarrels increased. Sleep became restless. For debt is not only financial, it is emotional and mental. It steals peace. It creates anxiety. It delays dreams. One evening, humbled and heavy-hearted, Tade went to Baba Oromila, the village elder. "Baba," he said softly, "I only wanted to live well." The elder stirred the fire before speaking. "There are two types of borrowing," he said. "One plants seeds, the other paints leaves." Tade listened carefully. If you borrow to buy seeds that multiply your harvest, the debt bows before growth. But if you borrow to decorate a tree that bears no fruit, you owe for the decoration while the tree still dies. The words struck deep. "You borrowed to perform wealth," Baba continued, "not to build it. Applause is loud, but it does not pay creditors." Across the modern world today, many dip into their own golden calabash, credit cards. They swipe for cars beyond their income. They charge vacations to impress strangers. They finance wardrobes to maintain an image. They post luxury online while hiding financial anxiety offline. Access is mistaken for ownership. Approval is mistaken for ability. Minimum payment is mistaken for progress. But debt that carries high interest grows quickly. When spending exceeds income consistently, the gap becomes debt. When only minimum payments are made, the timeline stretches for years. What was bought in minutes may take decades to repay. Tade gathered the villagers and confessed publicly. "I am not as wealthy as I look," he admitted, removing his golden agbada. One by one, others confessed too. They learned new principles. Spend less than you earn. Save before you show. Borrow only for assets that generate income or increase value. Build an emergency fund. Understand interest before signing any agreement. Let contentment guide lifestyle, not comparison. It was not easy. They sold unnecessary luxuries. They downsized. They endured embarrassment. But slowly, with discipline and consistent repayment, the ropes began to thin. Years later, when Malam Kudi returned, holding the golden calabash and singing, "Take today, pay tomorrow," the villagers smiled calmly. "We now understand tomorrow," Tade replied, and Malam Kudi left in search of another village dazzled by shine. So what is the lesson, my people? Luxury funded by debt is temporary. Interest is patient. Image is expensive. Peace of mind is priceless. True wealth is not loud. It is steady. It is savings in the bank. It is low debt. It is investments that grow. It is freedom to sleep without fear of a knock at the door. Remember this. It is better to walk simply with no ropes around your waist than to shine brightly while being quietly pulled backward. May you build substance before shine. May your lifestyle never outrun your income. And may your tomorrow never be owned by yesterday's applause.